Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. I'm amazed at the changes and the established customs, systems, and accepted norms being demolished, which is required. The world is witnessing the change, and recently what happened in Italy must have sent shockwaves. These are likely to be reinforced by the expected overturning of Roe Wade decision of the Supreme Court of USA. The old patriarchal privileges replaced matriarchal privileges, and the patriarchal system prevailed over matriarchal system for two reasons. One was that people, when they were hunters, had to go out, and men, by their physical capability, were more suited for that. And once they were there, the power entered their hands, turned them into egomaniacs, and the word manhood became the system of prevailing social order. Matriarchal system still existed, mostly in parts of the world, but then slowly, steadily, patriarchal system prevailed. And then, just a few days back, last week, the Italian highest court gave it a mortal blow. As a matter of fact, it should not have said an old patriarchal privilege is challenged. It is another patriarchal privilege challenge. I recollect a few years back when the girls, even in a comparatively conservative society like India, started changing their names, and instead of using the husband's surname, they started hyphenating them. At first, evidently, it looked odd because people had been accustomed to think of a woman as Mrs. So and so and not Mrs. So and so hyphenated so and so. But then the retention of the old surname asserted that they had their individuality, and that was justified. So that was one change, healthy change, and it was a blow to the patriarchal system. You can always say that what's in a name? It can carry a whole worldview, which in turn can shape the material reality in powerful ways, and that's what we forget. Specifically, patriarchal surnaming norms carried a wide range of patriarchal dividends, where fathers have dominance of the family decision making, and mothers sacrifice their jobs to do the unpaid uh, and unappreciated labor of housework and child care. And the next generation is trained to repeat the cycle. When I watch Pakistani dramas, which I am fond of, I find that women would keep on slaving, and yet, when their progeny is hurt, even if when they are wrong, the instinctive says, "मैं माँ हूँ, I'm the mother, so I must protect." Like a mother hen, clucking and protecting the children. And it's in this background that lends immensely to the ruling of the top court of Italy, which has found automatic importance given to the father's name as something illegitimate. Now you would be amazed. According to this code, why should children always use the name of the father? And why it should be legalized? Even we go to any school, it's father's name. Now, of course, they say parent's name. And in some countries, like in Canada, they say first parent, second parent. But in most of the places of the world, it's father's name. So and so, son, oblique daughter of so and so, and never the mother's name. Now, these people often forget that paternity is a conjecture, maternity is a fact. Now, I know that this statement of mine is going to rile up all these virile, brave men folk. As I say, how is that possible? They forget the reality of life. They forget that, as a matter of fact, the reality is that paternity was, is, and shall always remain to be conjecture. Agreed. The wife may not go and sleep with somebody else. Yes. So there may be no doubt. But then still it's a conjecture until you perform the DNAs and things like that. But normally, mothers being the most important guardian cannot be forgotten. It's natural. So why not have that? So when the constitutional bench of the highest court of Italy said that it's illegitimate to call the children by the father's name, it sent shockwaves in conservative circles. One Italian MP has noted in appreciation that mother's name henceforth getting the same dignity as a father's is a sign of civilization. And I fully agree with that. It shows the success of the movements like Me Too and the women liberation. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's recognition of a fact, which is biological, correct, and which is historically correct. The ruling recognizes the surname is a fundamental element of one's personal identity. And the system of the family and the clans goes by the father's name. But why not put the mother's name? The same can be done. Now, I'm not propagating matriarchal or patriarchal system. I'm not going into the mass of these. I'm going into the individual psyche. Why should a mother not have the legitimate right to be sure that her progeny, the child she has born in a womb for 9 months, carries her name? And this fundamental element of your personal identity in no way diminishes the fact that father remains father. As a mother remains mother, even if the certificate says so and so, son of Madam so and so. The fundamental element is that both parents have equal say in choice of the surname. And the ideal would be that let the parents decide whether they want to go by the father's name or the mother's name, and the matter should finish. As a matter of fact, honestly speaking, I would say that the court should not have said it's illegitimate. They should have said it should be left to the individual families. But in case they do not come to an agreement, then mother's name would be given imperative status of being superior. So, that way, then they could come together and decide, or it could be been left to the child, that let the child decide whether he wants to or she wants to be known by the father's name or by the mother's name. I'm not concerned as much as with the name, but I'm concerned with this system, with this matriarchal to be enforced by law. Options of the child carrying mother's surname alone are both parents' surname with the mother coming first are now on the table. They are meant. And most stupid thing that's happening in some countries, as I said, the mother and the father word to be removed, to be replaced by the first parent, second parent. That is, of course, ridiculous. The sense, the evocative part of the parents, father and the mother, would lose its sanctity and its imperative importance. And then, this hyphenated is wrong for one way. You hyphenated with two words. So your mother has a hyphenated name and father's name. As a child would have, that means three names. As a child would have six names. It will be endless. So you have got to understand the options should not be in geometrical progression. The main thing emerging from this judgment is a major fact that the choice given to the child to have a name, surname of both the parents or a single parent is now on the table. And it underlies the sense of equality between the father and the mother. And this sense of equality is in fact the mark of civilization. We have seen in India in recent years the rules being amended to allow mother's name as a valid identity marker for the documents ranging from PAN cards to passports. This is quite an achievement for a country like India, which is quite conservative as far as the family matters are concerned, and for them to think, okay, father's name can be replaced by the mother's name must have sent shivers down the spine of various people. But still it has been done. And it's a valid identity marker. Your passport can have your mother's name as your child as a mother. Your PAN card can have the mother's name. But it's an option given to you. It's not obligatory. But even when this option is theoretically available, have you seen the practical aspect? Practically, it is an ordeal. Patrilineality in naming continues to mirror deeply unequal allocation of roles to women and men. And that's the crux of the situation. Why should there not be equality? And all the laws and the constitution notwithstanding, the fact remains. And it's undeniable whether it's countries like USA or Nordic countries or countries like India, which are more progressive than any country else. They gave, for example, the right to vote way back in 1904, right from the beginning of the time they came into power. The first election they had, and some countries like Scandinavian countries gave it much later. And in America they had to fight a lot to get the right to vote, the women. But in India they got it first of all. In India, for example, even the Hori Pasman Ramayana was written, no religious ceremony can be completed till wife was there. And so much so that when Lord Rama had to conduct a yajna, a golden statue of Sita was made and placed there. Of course, this doesn't undo the injustice done to the lady. No. But the reality was that the women were given equal and if not higher status, as a matter of fact, they got a much higher status. But then by the passage of time, they became nothing more than dregs and slaves, exploited, demeaned, derided, and their lives were desolate. This decision of the Supreme Court and the action in India are hallmarks of the progressive thinking. Now, progressive thinking, by that I don't mean the way the leftists think. No. I see progressive thinking as far as the human values are concerned, as far as the capability of human beings to have a whole life consistently upgraded, elevated is concerned. And this patriarchal system's privileges need to be demolished one by one. As a matter of fact, privileges, whether they are in patriarchal society or in a matriarchal society, are an anathema. There should be no privileges. Both should be equal. And the day we achieve that status of equality of sexes, we shall have made a revolutionary change in the thoughts and the minds of the people. The only thing is, these decisions of the courts are only an indication of the shape of things to come. But they are not in any way likely to make an effect till the people, the common masses, appreciate it and incorporate it in their lives. And if they can do it, that shall be major achievement. Let's wait and watch for that. Thank you.